In this video, first we are going to construct the line of reflection that the pre-image triangle was reflected over to get the image triangle. Our first step is what we're going to do is we're going to connect corresponding pre-image and image points together. So I'm just going to connect B and B prime just because they're easy for me to connect, and I'll connect C and C prime. You do need to connect two pairs of corresponding pre-image and image points. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to construct the perpendicular bisector of each of these line segments connecting the pre-image and the image points. And the reason that I'm doing that is so I can find the line that's an equal distance on both sides of the pre-image and image points. Remember, reflections make equal distances. So I'm just going to use a distance on my compass that's about 3/4 of the way down. Remember, the exact measurement doesn't matter. And I'm just going to go above and below, and it cuts off a bit on here. It'll be a lot nicer on your paper. And then I'm going to use the same distance, and I'm going to go over to the other point without changing my compass distance. And I'm going to make the same arc. And through where the two arcs intersect, and you can't see my top intersection because my screen cut off, but you should have a bottom and a top intersection. That's where you're going to draw your line. Now I'm also going to make the perpendicular bisector, and this one should be nicer, of the bottom line segment using the exact same steps. Oops. Let me get a different color. Okay, about 3/4 of the way down, arc above and below. And then using the same measurement, we're going to make the same arc. And this one's just small, so that's why the intersection looks weird. And I'll use a different color. And right through those intersection points, I'm going to draw my line of reflection. And notice how my line of reflection from each perpendicular bisector is the same. It's the same line of reflection. We just construct the perpendicular bisector of two connected pre-image and image points in order to get a higher level of accuracy, because we do like to be as accurate as possible. But there is one line of reflection. This line was the line that this triangle was reflected over to get this triangle. And notice how it's an equal distance from this triangle as it is from this triangle. It should look like it's exactly in the middle. For our next construction, we are going to be actually reflecting this triangle over its line of reflection. So it's kind of the opposite because we're given the line, but we need to make the image triangle. So I'm going to start with point C because it's closest to the line of reflection. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my compass on point C. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to open up and I'm going to swing an arc that intersects this line of reflection. Okay, so notice it intersects the line of reflection in two spots. So now I'm just going to put my compass back on point C, and I'm just going to open up to where it hits the arc. And then, and it should be the same measurement that you just had. And then I'm going to go over to each of those intersection points using the same distance. And I'll make an arc here. And I'm not changing the compass distance. I'm just moving over to the other intersection point. And where those arcs meet, I can draw a line connecting my pre-image point through the point of intersection. I'm just going to make it a little bit nicer looking because it's hard for me to make straight lines on here. There we go. That's much better. And here, where the two arcs intersected, is my image point because we constructed a perpendicular line and we made equal distances on both sides of the line of reflection, because the distance from here to here and here to here is the same as the distance from here to here and here to here. So we made equal distances, and we also constructed the perpendicular line, and that's where we find the reflected point along. We're going to do the same exact thing for B and C. This might get a little bit messy at this point because I'm going to be doing a lot of construction marks. So I'm going to put my compass on point B, and I'm just going to open up. That's a little bit too big. Let me go smaller because I don't want to make this too messy. All I want to do is hit the arc in two spots. Hit the line of reflection in two spots. Let me make it a tiny bit smaller. Once again, I don't want this to be super messy. On the computer, things end up being super messy. Okay, that's the best I can do here. I'm just going to extend this slightly. Oops, let me try to do that nicer. The line of reflection here wasn't long enough. There we go. Okay. So now, without changing my compass distance, I'm going to put my compass on one of those intersection points. And as you can see, it's very difficult to do this on the computer. You'll be doing this so much faster on your paper. Okay, and then I'm going to just make an arc. And then I'm going to go over to the other place where it intersected the line of reflection. And I'll just swing the same arc. And just like before, if I draw my straight line from my pre-image point through the intersection of that those arcs, that is the point that I'm looking for, B prime, because it's equal distance from the line of reflection, and it lies along the perpendicular bisector. Okay, now one more point A. Hopefully I can do this in a less messy way. Let me use a different color for the arcs. I'll just use red for the arcs. Let me pick up my compass. Make it a little bit bigger. No, still not big enough. Okay, I'm having the same issue as before where I'm going to have to extend my line of reflection slightly. Once again, this will be a lot easier for you doing this on paper. It's very hard to do this on the computer. Now, without changing my distance of my compass, I'm going to go over to the first place where my arc intersected the line of reflection. And this can get a little confusing because there's a lot of arcs going on now. And now I'm going to go over to the second place. There we go. I see my arcs intersect. That's really all I need. Perfect. And this is A prime. Let me use a different color to connect all of the pre-image and image points together to form the triangle. So let me connect A prime, B prime, and C prime. And notice that it is the same triangle. It just got reflected over the line of reflection.